welcome back to L&D Design. My name is Lene and I am half of L&D Design along with my husband David. Today we are going to be participating in the Heidi Sonboul DIY Challenge. If you do not know who Heidi Sonboul is, which I highly doubt because she is fabulous, she is an excellent crafter here on YouTube. I will have the Heidi Sonboul DIY channel listed down below in my description box, as well as the playlist for this challenge. There are going to be amazing DIYers and crafters participating in this challenge, so please go check them out. I plan to watch a lot of those videos myself. I have been watching Heidi Sonboul for a really long time, and I am a student compared to her in the DIY crafting community. She is so creative, has such wonderful ideas, and she is just amazing in this community. So I would like to personally thank Heidi Sonboul for having these open challenges. I think it's so amazing that someone so big in the DIY community has an open challenge where everybody, no matter what your level, no matter how many subscribers you have, no matter the size of your channel, can come together and participate in a challenge with other crafters, DIYers, and creative people. So thank you, Heidi, for having these open challenges and allowing small channels like ours to participate. I think it's absolutely amazing. Again, please check the playlist down below and please check out Heidi's channel. If you do not know who she is, like I said, I highly doubt, but if you don't, please go check her out. She is fabulous. Her theme for August is back to school. So we are going to be doing 2 back to school DIYs today. And what I wanted to go with was a teacher gift idea. Now I know not everyone is going back into the classroom. Myself, I'm teaching virtually. If you're interested in my video on setting all of this up, it will also be in the description box below. But I know that a lot of people are still going back into the classroom, and some of us still have teacher friends and family members that we may want to give some gifts to. So if you're interested in seeing our 2 teacher gift DIYs, then stay tuned. This is going to be our first project. Please ignore the carpet sprinkle. It's a vacuum day here in the great room, so I'm waiting for that to soak in. Our first project is going to be to take this yardstick. Now, I got this from Menards, obviously. Not sponsored, just like the prices at Menards. I believe this was around $1, maybe a little bit more than $1. And what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to make this into a teacher yardstick. Not necessarily one that a teacher is going to use, but one that's going to be really cute decor. I know as a teacher myself, I don't always have space for really big decor items because our classrooms are rather small, but I do like to fancy up my space with small items and make it feel more homey. So what we're going to do first is we are going to sand this. We're not just trying to get the color off because we are going to be painting it, but we kind of want to sand it down smooth because what I've noticed is I made one of these for myself already, but what I've noticed is this is kind of imprinted in a little bit. So if you don't sand this really smooth here, then those words kind of pop through and you'll get that kind of, you know, visit menards.com impression on your yardstick. Our yardstick is sanded. I just did one side really well. I left the other side just because I'm making this for myself. So I'm not too worried about the back side. But I did sand the front side really, really good. And then I just wiped it down. I'm trying my new bendy tripod. It's proving to be very difficult, but we'll see how this goes. We are going to paint both sides of this. And I'm just going to use, see if it will focus. This is the Waverly chalk paint, and this is in the color Steel. I don't know if it's focusing. I can barely see what I'm doing, so trial and error. And then I'm just going to use this very tragic looking paintbrush that I probably need to get rid of, but I like it. So we're going to paint both sides, front and back, and then make sure also you get your edges. I'm in my Cricut design space now, and I want to create the text that I am going to put on our teacher yardstick. I'm hoping that it's going to stay focused for you guys. It seems to not want to focus on my computer for some reason, but we're going to try this. I want to create a jute string to hang my teacher gift from, but I don't want to just loop it through normal because I want this to be able to hang flat on a wall. So I don't want it to be spinning around. So I'm just going to take my two ends, put them together. I'm going to attempt to get them through the back, and I may have to do one piece at a time. Going to try to shove them both through the back without having to tape the ends, just like that. And then I'm going to take this loop and I'm just going to pull my two ends through. After I've secured that tightly, then I want to take these two ends and I want to make two knots so that you can hang it from a thumbtack or a nail, and then I'm going to cut off those little extra pieces. If I can, let's try again. I think I'm just going to do one knot just like that. And then I'm going to cut off this little extra piece here. As I was looking at it all together, I decided the bottom here looks a little plain. If you can see, this is the bottom. Oops. Looks a little bit plain. So I'm just going to take a few scraps of jute twine that I have and wrap them around the bottom. I'm going to flip it over to the back. And this is why I said you really need to sand really well. I just kind of painted the back, just one simple slap of paint because I wasn't worried about it. But if you're giving this as a teacher gift, really sand both sides really well and paint both sides really nicely. So I'm just going to attach some jute rope to the bottom, leaving a little bit of space at the bottom. And we're just going to wrap these pieces all the way around, creating a little bit of detail at the bottom of our yardstick. let's move on to our second and final DIY of this video. I'm going to be taking one of these signs from Dollar Tree. If you can see, I've already started to sand it. I found a bunch of these at my local Dollar Tree, and I actually grabbed a few for some different DIYs. I sanded down just a little bit of this just in case there was some texture. I didn't want it to show through. My original idea was to do a double-sided sign and leave this side this color because I really loved this mint green color. But as you can see, I struggled to get the sticker off even with a hairdryer. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this sign. That's where we're going to start. I'm going to be using my folk art chalk paint in white Adirondack and my very awful torn up brush that you guys have already seen. And I'm going to paint this on all of the sides. So front and back and then all the sides. I'm just going to paint the whole thing white. My piece is all dry. I did do a little bit of distressing, just some dry brushing with the Waverly chalk paint in steel, just because I'm going to be using this in my virtual classroom. And I made my virtual classroom to match our home decor, our farmhouse inspired home decor. I will put a link in the description for that video if you want to watch my Decorate With Me virtual classroom. But I am going to be using this in my virtual classroom until at least October 21st. So I did some distressing on it. You can do any color theme you want here for whatever teacher you're making this for. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our ruler. This is actually my son's ruler. He likes to draw on things. Why, I don't know, but he does. And we're going to place it as much in the middle as we can. And I'm going to line the centimeter side of the ruler up with the bottom of our sign. So I'm just going to place it as much in the middle as I can, just kind of eyeballing really what we have on the sides. And what we're going to be doing is then taking a pencil and we're going to be marking our inches. So as you can see, I've turned my sign sideways. That's simply because it's easier for me to write with the tripod in the way, sideways. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a permanent marker, just a regular fine point Sharpie, and we're going to mark our lines. But we're going to want to mark our lines at the top of our sign. We're not going to want to mark all the way down here. We're going to want to mark at the top of our sign. And I'm just going to, for now, just make a very simple line. So I'm going to find where I have that mark. And I'm just going to draw a little line just like that. And I'm going to do that for all of my inch increments. And now we can make these a little bit thicker so that they pop a little bit more. So I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm actually going to flip it over because this is a Dollar Tree ruler and it has this lip right here. So I'm actually going to use this lip to help me. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use that just to make my line a little bit thicker. So I'm going to kind of match it up with my pencil mark and with the line that I've already started creating as much as I can, just so I get as straight of a line as possible. And then I'm just going to go over my line and I'm just going to make my line a little bit thicker so it pops a little bit more. And I'm going to do that with all of my increments. So now you can see I have all of my lines just thickened up a little bit. And now I'm going to use my ruler as inspiration because that's what we're making. We're making ruler decor for our teachers. Like I said, I am a teacher. I love sprucing up my classroom with a little bit of decor, but I don't have a lot of space for big signs or big containers or things like that. So this is something that I can realistically sit on my desk or sit on the ledge of my whiteboard as cute decor. Like I said, right now I'll be using it in my virtual classroom, but I will take this into my physical classroom when we get to go back. So I'm going to model after my ruler. And if you can tell, my numbers are a little bit in front of my increments, my measurement increments. So I'm going to attempt to turn sideways a little bit here just because it's easier for me to write sideways. That's just how I write. I do not love my handwriting, so I'm really hoping that this turns out really well. And if you notice, I didn't make my lines too long, just because I'm going to be putting something in the middle here and I want to have plenty of space for that. But you could make your lines a little bit longer, and I may end up lengthening them a little bit depending on how big my numbers get. As you can see, I attempted to do some words here. Like I said, I'm not a fan of my handwriting. I thought about doing cursive, but I decided to just go with just simple lettering. I am going to write third grade rules, and that's because I teach third grade and third grade does rule. So I just did the third and the grade with the capital and then the lowercase, but I'm gonna do rules in all caps simply because we're making a ruler. So I am gonna probably have to scoot this all over a little bit so it kind of lines up. And unfortunately, I'm gonna do this part off camera simply because I'm not gonna be able to get it really the way that I wanted with the tripod in the way. So I'm gonna do this off camera and then we're gonna come back and check in. Now that I have my saying on the front, I want to add just a little bit of detail to the side. My original plan was to actually use my Cricut and do the matching hearts just like our yardstick, but I wanted to show you that you do not have to have a Cricut. Although I love using my Cricut for everything because I do not love my handwriting. You don't have to have a Cricut. You can use your handwriting or stencils or stickers or anything that you have available. But I do want to add a little bit of something to the side. So I have 2 pieces of jute twine here. And I'm going to wrap them on the sides. And I want to make sure that when I go over the bottom, that I'm not overlapping the twine on itself, because I'm already going to have a little bit of a wobbly base by adding this twine. So what I'm hoping is if I make it really cohesive and kind of flat on the bottom, where the jute twine isn't overlapping on top of itself on the bottom, that it'll kind of counterbalance because I'm doing it on both sides.